in a pivotal match for both teams as South Carolina and Georgia ready to go here on the SEC Network. We welcome you courtside here at Stadium Coliseum. Caleb Frady, Nikki Chester, and South Carolina, disappointing season for the Gamecocks, looking to finish strong. Meanwhile, for Georgia, 4 regular season contests left. Every single one's important for the postseason.
Absolutely, and what I would say about a Georgia-South Carolina match is you get ready to go the distance. These two teams always play each other very tough, but for Georgia, they have to be really thankful to be back at home, and they definitely do need to take the match tonight to have a chance to get to the postseason.
Absolutely, a couple of stars for both of these squads here tonight. For South Carolina, Keon Fletcher, the co-offensive SEC Player of the Week.
Yes, and she's taking even more reps now that Riley Whitesides is not playing on the front row, and they really rely on her when the pass is good, and they rely on her even when you think the ball can't go to her, and she can close, and she closes with authority.
On the opposite side of the net for Georgia, Sophie Fisher leading the SEC in points per set.
Yes, and Sophie Fisher is much the same. Georgia relies on her in all different types of situations, and her block will be a factor tonight as well. South Carolina is going to have to find a way to stop Sophie Fisher if they have a chance to win this match on the road in Athens.
You see the numbers between these two, and the offense, we talked with Tom Black before the contest, the offense really flows through Fletcher.
It absolutely does, and they had a hard time shutting her down earlier in the season when the Bulldogs took on the Gamecocks in South Carolina. They've tried to make some adjustments tonight, but they're going to have to put up a solid block on that right pin and slow down Fletcher tonight.
Tom Black, reigning SEC Coach of the Year, 7th season, 18th overall as a head coach, and Georgia 4-6 against the Gamecocks under his watch. Tom Mendoza on the opposite side. Been really impressed with what he's done in his 6 years at South Carolina. This is kind of an aberration for what, since he's been there, a little bit of a down year for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, definitely a down year for the Gamecocks, but they still have a lot of the pieces in place and some up-and-comers, and I think they'll be glad to get Riley Whitesides back in the lineup tonight, even if only on the back row. Her presence should help as well, but they have been a little bit banged up here in November. We'll see how it starts for them as we get the first serve going.
And this is a banged-up Gamecock squad that will be on the floor tonight, missing some of the pieces that they are accustomed to having. And South Carolina will take the opening point.
Have a nice high swing by Lauren McCutcheon. High contact point, she went high off the hands and ricocheted the block for a kill for the Gamecocks to get them on the board first.
You mentioned the tightness of this series. We mentioned 6 of the 10 that Tom Black has been a part of here in his 7th season in Athens have went 5 sets. Blocked there for Georgia as Staunton on the attack. She'll get after it once again, and it's going to be blocked back over this time by Fletcher.
Yeah, nice job closing that block by the Gamecocks.
Good 2-0 start here as Claire Wilson continues to serve. Staunton again, this one will go off of Wilson. Georgia will get the serve for the first time.
Yeah, that time Staunton found her groove, was able to thread the needle of the block and get a much needed kill. Didn't want South Carolina to get too much of the early momentum.
Georgia with its first serve on a Julia Bleeker. Serving for Georgia. And a big block there for Georgia.
Exactly what they need against Fletcher. See if they can totally shut her down early in the match. At least let her know that the block is going to be a major presence tonight.
Georgia able to quickly tie it up at 2 apiece here in this first set. Set fired over. That was a right-hand hook by Adandi there the first time. Anadi, excuse me. Georgia will send it back wide. Talked with Tom Black before the match. He talked about how locked in this squad is, knowing that every single contest, Georgia's got 4 left, probably got to win them all here to try to make your way into the NCAA tournament, but also really proud of the late growth that this squad really, the accountability, everybody's coming together.
Yeah, but even in some of the intangibles, the senior leadership, upperclassmen leadership coming through, just expectations that they have for themselves. I mean, they are coming off an NCAA tournament appearance last year where they got the first win, and so you know they want to repeat that. They had most of the pieces of the puzzle coming back this season, high expectations, and want to meet those expectations.
Georgia 0-3 since upsetting Arkansas here in Athens. So looking to get in the right back side of the win-loss column here tonight.
Yeah, and getting Georgia's block going will really help this campaign for sure.
Misfire there by the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I think it's important to say that Morgan Carter, South Carolina's primary libero for the year, is out this evening, and Hannah Bissler is in wearing the opposing colored jersey for the Gamecocks, and so Georgia will likely try to take advantage of different serve receive patterns and see if they can get South Carolina on their heels on the first contact. And you see second serve in a row there by Estelle Haugen, where South Carolina is unable to make a play back.
See Hannah Bissler there, and Lauren McCutcheon got ace there. Georgia now on a 4-0 run with Estelle Haugen at the serve. Georgia's block able to tangle that one up and give the Bulldogs a swing. Here's Evans, has that one blocked back. That one popped back over. How about that one, Clara Brower?
Yeah, Clara Brower's gotta love being able to take that swing to close the point on the overpass. And you can see how much her team gets excited when she goes up against that middle blocker and puts it away.
Back over, Georgia with a tip. South Carolina keeping it alive. Right hand hook puts it back over there by Johnson. Bissler gets it from McCutcheon. That one's going to go wide. A little bit of a misfire there from Casey Evans.
Yeah, I think that was an interesting play just because Clara Brower goes up and tries to save that ball that's in the plane, and you could see the hands of the blocker touching hers, and I wonder why that was not an over-the-net call.
Evans another crack at it. A little long there that time too.
That set was a little outside the antenna. Sophie Fisher stepped in to put that second ball up for a swing by Evans. Evans made a good crack at it, but just couldn't find the court.
There's Evans, and this one's blocked back over. It went 2 or 3 straight times here, and Georgia will slow there from the opposite side.
Yeah, Ruprecht and Fletcher certainly have Evans' number out there. Georgia can get the pass. You got to look for them to go to another option to side out here.
Evans, good job to keep that one off the floor. Here's Fisher. Tangled up in the Georgia block, and a successful attack there, Elena Johnson.
So South Carolina coming back with a run of their own. It's been a little streaky so far. Georgia gets up several points, 6-3, and now South Carolina tied it back up at 7.
Back over, whoa! Thought about it, Bailey Cox saying she got a fingertip there. Tom Black.
Just waiting to see if Tom Black was going to come out with the challenge, but I think it's so early in set 1. There's a wisdom in holding it back. Georgia struggling on this particular serve receive to get a good enough pass to side out. That time Mallory Downing comes up with a great first ball contact and put a great ball behind the setter to Sophie Fisher, and sides out like clockwork. Just underscores how important, Caleb, that first contact is off of serve receive.
Sets up the entire point. And Fisher on the serve, puts it on the back row.
Sophie Fisher, one of Georgia's strongest servers. Showing her skills there from the back line. That one just goes down. It's a
Nice
beautiful
pop.
pass by McCutcheon. And an easy side out there for Fletcher from the right side.
Keaton Fletcher, we mentioned, reigning co-SEC Offensive Player of the Week. Riley Whitesides on the serve here for South Carolina. There's Evans on the attack. Evans, a point and a half away from 2,000 in her career. Wonder if she's got that rattling around the back of her head. She's been a little off here so far early. Working that opposite here this time. And South Carolina can't get it over.
Yeah, a nice swing by Cece Gooch. Didn't quite get the first ball side out, but got South Carolina on their heels enough that they couldn't return the nice attack. Still, match tied up at 10s here. I don't have the feeling that either team is really settled into their side out rhythm.
Saw Tom Mendoza looking on there from the South Carolina bench. Here's Evans. She'll send that one back over. The right side that time.
That's a way to spread the offense that time by Clara Brower. She had all three options available to her. Hard to read where she's going to put that ball, and she set a dime there for Krista Blakely, who put the ball away. Decisive kill.
Cox, here's Evans. Tied to the net, over on 2. Good set, good block. Georgia had that one timed up nicely.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things early in the season when Georgia played South Carolina, I mean, it was one of the first SEC matches for them, I guess mid-October, but even still, Cece Gooch seems to be getting better and better and better every match, and every rep she takes, she looks more seasoned, more like an upperclassman than a freshman who's going through her first season in the SEC. Did a great job closing that block.
Tom Black's had that opportunity with several players this season to watch them get better, get them into the lineup early, whether they be a young player or a transfer. And this team's really starting to kind of gel together late in the season when it needs to the most. All over the net, Georgia will keep it alive. That'll set a right side attack there that time. That was Ruprecht. Here's Evans. This one hammered back over.
Lots of good rallies, but the block being effective for both the Gamecocks and the Dogs early in this set 1. We've got 5 blocks already in this first set. Casey Evans has got to swing around that block. That ball was set inside and tight, and you just can't go through it.
Ruprecht and Claire Wilson in there on that block that time for South Carolina. Lena Johnson on the serve. Tangled up. Krista Blakely.
You don't usually say that Krista Blakely is leading the team in kills, but right now, Georgia doesn't have as many kills as they typically do early in set 1. And I mentioned to you that the side-out percentages for both teams are really low so far. You know, if you look at the side-out percentage versus the point scored percentage, usually the side-out percentage is in the 60s, but right now, point scored percentages are in the 60s for both teams. So both of these teams right now are scoring more points on their serve than on siding out, which just tells you that neither team is passing very well so far in set 1, or the serving is very good.
Casey Evans with the ace there, so she'll get a point. It'll be a half point from 2,000. Timeout on the floor, 15-12 here in set number 1. We'll take the timeout with them. Georgia with the point, as we had a challenge right as we went to timeout there. South Carolina challenged the call on the floor, got it overturned, so South Carolina got the point and the serve back, but then Georgia showing some good poise in answering back and getting the point and taking that serve back.
Yeah, a little surprising to us as we went to break, but you know, that last swing was by middle blocker Ellie Ruprecht, and the ball looked like it was swung out, but it was right in front of us, and she immediately was like, touch. And so I think Coach Mendoza said, you know, let's challenge this.
We'll take a look.
So I don't know whether they were challenging whether the ball was in, because it looked like it could have been in as well. Ball landed right there at the line judge's foot. So regardless of whether the ball was touched or whether they called the ball in, it was quickly overturned by the officiating staff. South Carolina took that 13th point, and then Georgia went back and scored the point just as we were welcoming you back.
So good poise there by Georgia. We mentioned it's been a little bit of a disappointing season for these Gamecocks. 10-14 on the year, just 4 SEC wins, but playing a little bit better here down the stretch. And we talked about Key Fletcher and her abilities, but the block doing a great job as well.
Yeah, but as you can see, when they outblock their opponents, they definitely have a much better record. But I would say of the 2 of the 3 last matches that they won, the fact that they picked up a win on the road was a big deal, because they've been 2-8 against teams on the road, and picking up that win at Mississippi State earlier this week was really important. Coach Mendoza was hoping that his Gamecocks would bring that momentum into this match here in Athens, especially knowing that these teams like to tangle, and they like to tangle for a while.
Yeah, historically 5 setters out of these 2 when they get together. Almost a surprise when they met earlier this season in Columbia that it only went to 4. Hammered down, and a really good attack there from Staunton.
Yeah, Staunton definitely got the advantage of the block there. She found a seam in that block, and that ball ricocheted straight down. Let's take another look. Got that ball right in the seam. Love Bailey Cox celebrating.
Always flying around there.
That block got there, but that ball blocked just out of bounds. Sophie Fisher was able to close, but wasn't able to turn her right shoulder back in to the middle of the court. Blocked that ball off the sideline.
Claire Wilson. Big dig there. Cox on the back row. Georgia with the point.
Again, the 3rd kill that time for Krista Blakely. 3 swings, 3 kills, hitting 1,000. It's like batting 1,000 in baseball. Great start for number 21.
Yeah, she has been active here tonight. 3 kills for her. Ties her for the team lead with Staunton, and match lead there with McCutcheon on the opposite side. This one off of Staunton for the South Carolina point.
Yeah, Fletcher back in on that right side. Georgia still needing to come up with a really strong block that time. Fletcher using the left hand of Erica Staunton and tooling off the block down the line.
McCutcheon with the serve. Downing back row. Here is Staunton on the attack there that time.
Great scramble there by the Gamecocks. Clara Brower over on 2, going on the offensive. The team was a little late collapsing back to base because of the scramble. Brower heads up, knew that, took advantage of it.
Brower with 2 kills now. Estelle Haugen to serve again. A little tight to the net. And Haugen on the back row sends this one wide.
Casey Evans back on the front row, yet to find her first kill of the night, but when she finds it, she'll enter that 2,000-point club.
Over. And this one wide.
Yeah, you wonder if she is thinking about it just a little bit. I usually don't see Casey Evans have this many errors at the start of a match. Hopefully she'll settle in and just play through it.
6 errors for her here so far.
On 9 swings.
She does have the ace.
And I just saw a nice exchange between she and Estelle Haugen on the back row, kind of like an atta girl. Come on, you got this.
Tied to the net. Georgia's block there in time. Cece Gooch with the block. South Carolina's going to take its first timeout as Georgia has reached the 20-point mark. So we talk about South Carolina's struggles. Here's a Georgia squad that came into the preseason with a lot of expectations. Georgia can look back now and see some matches that it probably wishes it could have back. 6-8, Georgia's got 4 regular season contests left. All of them are winnable contests for Georgia. There could be a big switch in the standings, and we talked with Tom Black before the game. Georgia really playing for its postseason life here in these next 4.
Absolutely. I do think that they've got to come out of these last 4 conference matches 4-0 to turn the heads of the committee. Obviously, they've got that great win recently, the 3-0 sweep against Arkansas. And you talked about a couple of the matches they wish they had back. I mean, they went 5 with Kentucky early this season. They went 5 with Florida early in the season.
5 with Auburn.
Yep, 5 with Auburn. Lost a close one at Missouri. We're playing Tennessee close. So Georgia can play close with any team, not only in the conference, but I think any team in the nation, truly, if they're playing their best ball. But right now, I mean, you can tell. You look at the RPI in the top 85. The truth is, they just have to be playing their best ball from now until the end.
And they're going to get 2 of the teams on that list here over these next 4. They'll go to Baton Rouge to take on LSU this next coming Wednesday, and then have a home date with the Missouri Tigers, a contest that they just dropped one in Columbia. Arguably could have been a contest Georgia won, so excited to get them back here in Athens. But all 4 of these teams, winnable contest for Georgia, and got to have them.
Sure, and you know, with South Carolina banged up tonight and South Carolina being on the road and away, if Georgia can take care of business tonight, and then you have Alabama, who right now is sitting in the cellar of the SEC. I think they get those 2, and then the road gets a little tougher because you got to go to Baton Rouge and win, and LSU is a really good team when they're on. And then Missouri will know the importance of the match coming here in Athens too. So, but you have to believe the Dogs have a chance to turn the heads of the NCAA selection committee if they can't execute.
Well, Georgia, you mentioned a home sweep over Arkansas. Got a good win on the road against a really good Georgia Tech team earlier this season. So this is a Georgia squad that's got a lot of the talent, all the pieces to make a run here. So everything in front of them here as this regular season comes to a close, and Georgia playing really well here out of this South Carolina timeout.
Yeah, and when Georgia is firing on all cylinders, they are a really fun team to watch. I mean, you got leading middle blocker in the nation nationally in points per game.
Misfire on the serve will break a 4-0 scoring run for Georgia. So now South Carolina will get the serve back. Riley Whitesides.
Side out percentages for both squads are creeping up little by little. Georgia at 50% in the side out percentage. South Carolina still at 40, almost 41%. Still a little bit low for what you'd expect, that side out rhythm. And that's going to become important right now as we're 19-22. I mean, you have to be able to side out to close this match with ease. So Georgia needs a good first ball here and a good first ball swing.
Into the net, South Carolina will pop it back over. And a good block there by the Gamecocks. They had that one timed up well. Here's Fisher on the attack. Back row touch. Fired back over, and that one's going to go off of Downing. Now South Carolina's popped a couple in a row here, and now within 2, Tom Black's going to have to take a timeout.
Yeah, but you have to believe, especially with Casey Evans, kind of with a rocky start, that you know that Coach Black has got to be saying to Clara Brower and to Casey Evans, look, you guys got to find your rhythm. We need you right now. We got to get out of this set 1 with a first set victory.
Sophie Fisher leading the way for Georgia with 3 kills here tonight. A little bit of a quieter performance for her here so far.
Hey, you know, it's hard to run the middle when your passing is not good, your first contact is not good. So Fisher hasn't had quite as many opportunities to take cracks at it, but she's still been making a difference, whether it's from the service line with the ace, a couple of blocks already on the night, and still 3 kills.
She's a player that even if the numbers aren't showing up in the stat line, how teams have to play her and strategize around her, she makes a massive impact on the game, even if she's not putting numbers up.
Yeah, it's a great point. You cannot leave Sophie Fisher alone. So oftentimes the middle blocker has to stay to deal with the threat of her on offense, and that creates one-on-one opportunities from both the left pin and the right pin for Georgia.
It's still such a wild stat that she leads all middle blockers nationally in points per set, and of course leading the SEC in that category as well. And she's been such a bonus for Georgia to get her out of the transfer portal and bring her from Kentucky, and been such an added asset to help Casey Evans on that opposite side.
Absolutely, and you know, she was recruited, as many of you that are listening know, as an outsider, a pin hitter for Kentucky, but wasn't getting quite as much playing time as she was hoping for early in her career. I'm sure that helped her make the decision to come to Georgia. Tom Black put her in the middle, but said, we're going to use you in a diverse way, and that's exactly what's happened. I mean, she swings from every location on the court. See her swinging from the back row there on the pipe. We see her swinging on the Vic on the back row. We see her swing from the right pin. Lots of sets in the middle. Sometimes they just throw the ball up to her high in the middle, but that just basically exemplifies how much diversity she has and how truly talented she is.
There, Brower with a little jump serve there. South Carolina has all sorts of trouble with it. Opportunity for Georgia. That one skates across the net. Georgia with block on it. Haugen, a good job to go over there and get it in front of Coach Black. Now South Carolina from the corner. And the Gamecocks will take the point.
That was really nice defense, though, by Clara Brower and then Estelle Haugen to track it down and make the Gamecocks attack one more ball. That'll pay off.
Johnson is going to ace Georgia, and the Gamecocks
within 1.
Yeah.
I mean, really, these side-out rhythm, both teams really struggling to side out, makes this game feel a lot different than what a normal, like what I would say a normal volleyball game is. You usually see side out, side out, side out. Hard to score points, but both these teams are giving up points way too easily.
Evans on the attack there that time, tied to the net. Little free ball opportunity here for Georgia. Dogs struggle with it, though. Blakely sends it over. Here are the Gamecocks, and that's McCutcheon. And that one's going to go wide and give Georgia set point.
Georgia having to work really hard for every side out. But they're in a position to close this first set as Evans steps back to serve, but not quite. Timeout called by Coach Mendoza.
He will have used both of his timeouts here in this first set. Krista Blakely, we've called her name several times here tonight when nobody's really standing out. She's been right in the thick of things for Georgia offensively.
Yeah, and you know, Clara Brower recognizes that the left pin is struggling a little bit, and so she's been directing the ball behind her, and Blakely's really stepped up. Tonight with 3 kills in this first set, no errors, hitting 600, can't blame her. Can't get the side out, can't get the termination of the ball from one pin, go to the other, and so Blakely's answering the call. Nice start for her tonight.
3 kills and hitting 600. She has the best hitting percentage of anybody on the floor tonight. And
as we talked about, she's been an important transfer for the Dogs, and she and Tori Harper have kind of traded out in that opposite position. But Coach Black has said here as the season has come to the latter stages that it's been Blakely's blocking that have really made the difference for the Dogs.
Blakely, the Eastern Michigan transfer, native of Detroit City. Took her a little while to kind of get going and kind of gel in, as it has with several folks on this Bulldog squad, but really starting to kind of come together.
She's always had really great energy on the floor. I mean, even from watching her in that first scrimmage against Clemson, I really liked her fire and her energy. But I think, you know, when you join a new team, it's hard to really settle into your confidence and you know, your day-to-day role. And so, you know, she started playing a good bit at the beginning of the season, then didn't play much, and now she's pretty much earned this role.
She's a constant now in this Georgia lineup, as South Carolina will get the point here out of the timeout. Still set point for Georgia, but
again, Georgia has struggled to side out, and this right here is one of their weaker side-out rotations because Fisher's on the back row and Evans is on the back row. But to be honest, with Evans struggling here in set one, she'll get it going. I don't know if she'll get it going in set one on the front row. There won't be time for that. This set, I think, will be over. But they've got Staunton on the left right now, and then they've got Gooch and Blakely stacked on the right. What Georgia really needs coming out of this timeout is a solid first contact so that Clara Brower has all three options to try to side out. Georgia really wants a first ball side out. Does not want South Carolina to tie this up at 24-24, so we have to go extra innings, as we say.
Will be Elizabeth McElveen serving for the Gamecocks here when we come out of this timeout. Good crowd has assembled here at Stegman Coliseum, cheering on the home squad tonight.
Students are pretty much gone home for the break, but still a nice crowd of local folks. It's a really exciting place to watch volleyball. And a fun sport to watch.
One thing, we were asked to give a shout out to the Georgia soccer program here for a 3-2 win over Iowa earlier today. That puts the Georgia soccer program in the Sweet 16 for just the second time in program history. So impressive note there for the Bulldogs.
And their first SEC championship this year as well. So good things continue to happen in women's athletics at the University of Georgia.
Set point.
Georgia trying to claw its way into an NCAA tournament for the second straight season. Going to need a set one win here this evening. There's a block, tipped back over, and Georgia will hold on and win set one.
Yeah, Krista Blakely able to finish up that point, but because of the great coverage from Clara Brower.
So Georgia wins set one, 25-23. We head to the second. Georgia a set one winner over South Carolina. Staunton Blakely. Really good, impressive numbers out of those two here so far after one.
Yeah, talk about the impact of transfers from the portal. Well, that's a 1-2 punch, and Blakely and Staunton from Northwestern, but both of them taking advantage of their fifth year and doing it well for the Dogs this evening. Doing a really great job. The combination, you see they're more than doubling their typical production per set to the start of set one. Really helpful as it takes, you know, Casey Evans just a little bit longer to get going, but I have a feeling that that'll happen here soon.
She tends to step up when she needs to and when the squad really needs her as well. So we anticipate a good one here tonight, and it usually is between these two. And Bailey Cox will serve for Georgia here to get set number two underway. McCutcheon sliding in there for South Carolina. And Cox diving in, couldn't get there in time.
She definitely was covering a lot of ground, but couldn't quite reach it. Totally extended, popped right back up. Cox's energy on the floor has been a really helpful addition mid-season to the Dogs. She plays excellent defense, excellent server.
Dive in there by Bissler. Kept that one off the floor for the Gamecocks, and on cue, there's Krista Blakely.
Clara Brower really gaining confidence, and Krista Blakely sending that ball behind her many times already this evening. Hitting pay dirt.
On to Julia Bleeker, as you mentioned. Hammered over there by Sophie Fisher.
A great kill in transition that time off of the beautiful dig from the right side. Fletcher struggling a little bit to get her rhythm as well. Georgia doing a good job of keeping her in check, which was part of the game plan. She's only hitting 143 so far this evening. 3 kills on 7 attacks with 2 errors. So the block doing a really nice job of making its presence known.
Timeout there to wipe up the floor. Two 2-1 Georgia lead here with Julia Bleeker on the serve. Popped back over.
Continued struggles on the first ball contact from the Gamecocks, and Erica Staunton cleaned that up with the block for a kill.
Richard freshman. Blocks back. There's Fisher, right hand. She'll send it back over. Carolina and Johnson on the attack there that time. Here's Staunton for Georgia.
Yeah, really impressed by Staunton and Blakely that time. Staunton going in the sharp cross with the wrist away. She does such a great job of moving that ball around with her wrist action.
There's Bleeker. Just about got aced on the serve, but then another one too easy for Sophie Fisher there from the middle.
It was a great scramble there by Elena Johnson.
Quick timeout taken here by South Carolina. Georgia on a 5-0 run to open set 2. Timeout trying to disrupt this 5-0 run that Georgia is on here to open set number 2.
I don't think Mendoza wants Georgia to go on big runs like that. They get set to pretty quickly at this stage of the season where South Carolina is kind of banged up. He doesn't want to be in and out of here quickly. He wants to see some fight in his Gamecocks, and the way to do that is to bring up that side out percentage. Still hovering in the 40s are the Gamecocks.
Try to disrupt Georgia's serve here. Staunton going to continue to keep the point for Georgia.
Yeah, Staunton just really having a nice match. Her 6 kills, she and Fisher tied for the lead with kills, and hitting close to 500 from that left pin tonight is Erica Staunton.
Bleeker taking her time. She's done a good job with the serve. Free ball opportunity there for Georgia. Tapped over. A little sneaky there from Sophie Fisher.
Yeah, I think the Gamecocks were absolutely waiting for the heat that time. That set was a little off the net, and Sophie Fisher said, well,
why
you're
not?
hanging back deep in the court. I always can just tip it for the kill.
Don't mind if I do there from a Sophie Fisher.
Point counts the same.
Bleeker taking her time here, slowing it down, continuing to focus on that serve. Blocked there by Georgia. And
South Carolina in the net that time. That's why you see the net still swinging. You can kind of see the Bulldogs going up and down there. They got a big piece of the net, likely an elbow from the attacker.
Well, the way Georgia reacted, I almost thought Georgia thought it was in the net, but
somebody was. That time it was the Gamecocks.
tied to the net. Fisher, good job to stay off the net.
Yeah, that looked like one of those plays in tennis where they hit the ball over and it bounces back onto their side. She kind of threw that ball back under the net. It was an interesting, I almost need to see that one in replay. She was so high off the net and kind of threw the ball back into the net so that it hit the center line.
Well, now neither team is at 10 points, and South Carolina has already used both of its timeouts. South Carolina took the opening point. Georgia went on a 5-0 run. Timeout, South Carolina. Georgia has responded with a 4-0 run out of the timeout to go up 9-1 here. And Erica Staunton helping contribute for Georgia. Her 6 kills so far tonight.
Yeah, but let's take a look at some of these highlights. I mean, she's really done a good job of moving around the block, going down the line, going in the sharp cross, threading the needle of the block, and she's had a couple of blocks herself. So she's really doing it on both sides of the ball. Looks like she's having a great time, really relaxed, settled into her role here as we enter these final matches in November in what will be her final matches as a collegiate volleyball player. That's true for Staunton and for Mallory Downing and for Blakely and for Evans. So this is a veteran Georgia team. It really has a lot to play for to extend their season. But look at that, 6 kills, hitting 500 from the left pin, putting on a clinic out there this evening.
Staunton, a transfer from Northeastern. Trying to make the most of her lone season here in Athens with this Georgia program. Bleeker thought about having an ace there as this one will get past the Georgia block, and South Carolina will finally get the serve back here.
They definitely needed to stop the bleeding to have a chance to get back into this second set.
Bissler. There's Staunton. Back row there to McCutcheon. Georgia with the block. Gamecocks and Johnson there that time. That one off the South Carolina block, side out for Georgia.
Yeah, and Sophie Evans just so quick off the net in transition, able to really get into an attacking route off of 1 foot. Just so fun to set a player like that.
Estelle Haugen will serve now for Georgia. Well, miscommunication there. South Carolina wasn't sure who was supposed to take that one. A slow roller across the top of the net, and Georgia had a freebie there and misfired.
She just didn't get on top of the ball enough to generate that top spin. That ball sailed out kind of flat. Not much top spin to bring the ball down into the court.
Riley Whitesides on the serve for the Gamecocks. There's Fisher.
Yeah, and once again, I mean, the creativity of Fisher to run a route based on the pass. I mean, that first contact was behind the 3-meter line and off of the court. And so Sophie Fisher just took her route high in the middle. Just set me up. I'll put it away.
McCutcheon, first touch, she'll go on the attack from the middle. There's Fisher. Once again.
Yeah, and that time Clara Brower is setting from her knees at about the 20-foot line. And she sets the ball back row to Sophie Fisher, who puts it away. Take a look at this. Look at that set. Fisher's still able to do something with it from the back row. Coming over her left shoulder. Harder for her to hit on her what would be her weak side when the ball has to cross the middle of your body. Takes a little bit different timing. But Fisher making it look easy.
There's Fisher on the serve, and she'll put that one in the net. Can't ask her to do everything perfectly.
Nope. Almost feel bad about talking about her so much and so well, and then I feel like we're drawing out those errors, but she does have several aces on the evening already. 2 aces. It's her first service error.
Georgia will misfire there as Cece Gooch from the right side.
Yeah, Gooch doing a better job of getting into the offense, hitting a variety of attacking routes. She's really adding that off 1 foot that time. She just had a bit of an awkward approach.
Haugen. Casey Evans mistimed the jump there.
Yeah, I was trying to use some finesse. The set was a little bit off.
So now South Carolina starting to put a little bit of a rally together. 3-0 run for the Gamecocks. Fisher, back row.
Running out of the right back, coming around in front of the setter, hitting the pipe. Really, really well done. Watch where she starts her approach. She starts on the right back, goes to the deep middle of the court, takes a long approach to hit that pipe. As long as she takes off behind the 3-meter line, she can land way in front of the 3-meter line, which she does, using kind of a broad jump. It's a beautiful swing. South Carolina out of timeouts, so we're going to go to the wipe the floor timeout.
Tom Mendoza quick to see a little spot there, and so taking a moment to wipe it up.
Now, that's not to say we do not want the floor to be wet. We want the athletes to be safe.
And that was a legit spot you could see out there, but this will be the driest floor we've played on all night, no doubt, but Georgia answering back with a point.
Yeah, a nice ball that time by Clara Brower to Cece Gooch in that gap set, the 31. Cece Gooch put that ball away cleanly.
And a tough spot that Coach Mendoza's in, too. Having to burn those timeouts early as Georgia's going to get an ace off the serve. You got to do what you got to do to try to disrupt Georgia.
Absolutely. You got to do whatever you can. And Georgia is serving really well. South Carolina is struggling with those first ball contacts. Again, side out percentage is back down into the upper 30s.
So now a 3-0 run for Georgia. South Carolina will dump it over on 2. There's Evans from the opposite side.
And exactly what she needed to kind of get off of that. She needed that one more kill to get into the 2,000-point club, and I think that she'll probably settle in and play more freely now.
This one will go long and be a service error there for Georgia.
Georgia commanding lead now, so long as they can side out in rhythm, and getting Casey Evans cracking will certainly help with that.
That one tipped around.
Again, Krista Blakely finding the hole, running that route out of the middle. Her 6th kill on the night. Still hitting close to 700. 6 kills on 9 swings.
Casey Evans becomes just the 5th player in Georgia history to hit 2,000 points. As this one will go to the back row.
Been waiting for her to join that club all season. It makes me really happy to have another member of that club. She's so well deserved. We were talking during the break off camera, off air, about how important Casey Evans has been to this program, getting Georgia back on the map, so to say, back into the NCAA tournament, back on a positive trajectory, really helping Tom Black build the Tom Black era of Georgia volleyball.
And that's a club you're a part of, so you're glad to welcome her in.
Yes, I am, but I'm really proud of her.
She has meant a lot to the Georgia program and still not done yet. And South Carolina will take the error there from Georgia, give double figures now to the Gamecocks at 17-10.
And I think it's important to call out some of those other greats. Priscilla Pacheco-Tallman leads that club. Julia Petruska played a few years just right after Priscilla and I were playing. Then Maria Taylor.
No.
And me. And now Casey Evans.
.40 run here for South Carolina. Low serve, that one getting across. Here's Staunton. Tangles that one up in the Carolina block.
That's an Erica Staunton in. Sophie Fisher will take it into the nose. Now serving.
Another great swing there that time by Erica Staunton. She's got a really quick swing, quick arm swing. Able to take advantage of that weakened block at the seam. Utilize the tool for the kill.
That one to Bailey Cox. Staunton. That one tangled up in the block. Here is Evans giving Staunton a crack at it. Great recovery there.
Well, that was a great ball by Casey Evans and a really smart swing by Staunton. Take a look at where this ball's coming from the middle back. Staunton keeps that ball in front of her and turns that ball down the line. Goes around the block for the kill.
That one didn't look good the moment it left the wrist of Bailey Cox.
You know, right now, Georgia truly in command of this set too. And we talked some about how Georgia really does need to go 4-0 in these last 4 matches in the Southeastern Conference to have a chance at the postseason. Well, I would say even more than that. They need to, if they can, they need to win with some authority.
Yeah.
So if they're up 19-12 and they can keep cracking out points and keep teams under 15, that would be an even more decisive win. I love that.
Hustle
pursuit,
there.
Yeah, that pursuit by Bailey Evans. I was kind of hoping she didn't knock herself into the bottom of the bleachers. A great pursuit.
Both players chasing after it there. That one gets blocked back. Georgia can't get it back over. South Carolina has cut this Georgia lead to 5, and Georgia's going to take a timeout to talk about it here. And South Carolina is starting to play well here. Georgia, I wonder, losing a little focus.
Perhaps, and I imagine that's exactly what Tom Black has, taken this timeout to remind the team. And honestly, I'm not even sure he'll have to remind them. I think that they'll figure it out on their own, that, hey, we got to keep our foot on the accelerator here and execute and play our ball.
Sophie Fisher now 12 kills on the evening and starting to exert herself a little bit here.
Yeah, and obviously she gets it done on the front row in all different types of sets, but I'll tell you what, you got the combination of Sophie Fisher and then going to the pin of Erica Staunton. It's been a 1-2 punch.
12 kills, 2 aces, hitting just under 500.
A really nice night for Fisher in the hitting percentage category. But honestly, Staunton doing well at 375. Krista Blakely still hitting 455. Really nice performance by those 3 Georgia hitters this evening. Out-producing in the kill percentage, well, in hitting percentage, out-producing, but Georgia has 30 kills right now to South Carolina's 16 kills. So producing double the number of kills for points. That stat alone would make you think that the score would be even more lopsided.
South Carolina on a 3-0 run. Georgia's timeout, hoping to slow things down a little bit here.
Following the Nov's timeout, Lauren McCutcheon will serve for the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Right on cue, Sophie Fisher.
That ball hammered into the chest of Anna Bisler. She tried to fend it off, but it just was too tough to handle.
Now serving, Anna Julia Bleeker.
Georgia eclipses the 20-point mark now. Again, I think they have to keep their foot on the accelerator here, Caleb.
Anna Julia Bleeker with the ace. She had a great run of serving early in this contest.
Georgia's been quite effective trying to incorporate that short serve, trying to get that left front attacker to come in and have to pass that first ball and get them out of their rhythm on their attacking route. South Carolina changed their serve-receive pattern as a result and struggled.
That's going to be back-to-back aces for Anna Julia Bleeker.
You see that time South Carolina serve receiving with two, Bissler and McCutcheon. Anna Julia Bleeker doing a great job from the service line, generating points.
Georgia blocking that one back over, hooked back over.
That ball just out, but that was a really nice swing there by Staunton. Took a nice crack at it, tried to put it into the deep cross court and catch some hands on that out-of-system ball. It's a really nice swing. I think that's if there is such a thing as a good miss, that right there is an acceptable miss. If Georgia can handle the serve here inside out in rhythm.
That's a big block there for South Carolina, timed well.
Yeah, that was a roof that time by Fletcher and Ruprecht. That ball went straight down.
Fletcher's been fairly quiet, 4 kills here so far tonight.
Well, Georgia been doing a really good job focusing on her. I think, you know, not having as big of a threat on the left pin and Whitesides puts more pressure on Fletcher on that right pin. The blockers can release a little bit earlier and create less one-on-one opportunities. So Fletcher's having to go up against a well-formed block more often.
Just as we talk about her, she'll go on the attack and put this one into the pin.
Georgia 2 points shy of a 2-0 lead in this first match of the weekend, and first of 4 that they need.
Georgia's block got there in time, sent that one skyward. Here's Georgia and Evans on the attack. Johnson, that time for the Gamecocks. Evans, midway back. Set point now for Georgia.
And it is my prediction that now that she's gotten that 2,000 point, that she will relax and have many more kills. 2 for 2.
Estelle Haugen with a serve. That one getting fingertips there that time from Claire Brower.
Yeah, and Ellie Ruprecht doing a good job with that ball. That ball was set a little bit low. She couldn't take a swing at it, but she was able to kind of throw it around, find the hole in the court, and get the much-needed side out.
Bailey Cox first touch. There's Evans. Fastball there. Bissler first touch. And that one from Johnson.
There's a nice high swing that time from Alana Johnson.
Service error from the Gamecocks give Georgia a set to win. 25-19, 2-0 Georgia as we head to the third. Georgia leading 2-0 here as we head to the third set. Casey Evans getting recognized there between sets for eclipsing the 2,000-point mark in her career here at Georgia.
A really warm standing ovation. It's nice to watch. We talked earlier about what she's meant to this program, and I know she wants to maximize her time on the floor. She and I have actually been talking about that since the beginning of the season. We'll text back and forth on occasion or see each other post-match, and she's relishing every moment. Bulldog through and through.
Got the opportunity to get to know her folks. Her dad often coming by and saying hey when they're in town.
Expecting to see him later this weekend, and they'll spend the last week watching his girl play. I think the whole family's coming in next weekend for a celebration of the last homestand.
So now Georgia leading 2-0 and almost uncharted territory here in this series. You're not used to seeing one kind of go quickly one way or another. See what kind of focus Georgia comes out with here in set 3.
Yeah, and what South Carolina is able to pull together in terms of motivation to come back and make this match a little more competitive.
Yeah. That's an ace to get things started, so that's a good start for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, Claire Wilson on the ace.
Off the block. That one gets through the Georgia block. McCutcheon on the attack there that time.
Really nice defense by both teams in this rally. Georgia going to have a better chance in transition right here. Dug out again by Fissler.
Probably the best rally we've had all night from either squad, and Georgia will take its first point of set 3.
Again, Sophie Fisher making her presence known there on that block, and Krista Blakely doing a great job of both setting up the block and timing the block.
Back row there that time. Now Julia Bleeker couldn't get to it in South Carolina.
That time, Obianandi puts the ball away in the gap set. South Carolina hasn't been able to get their middles too much into the action.
Opposite side there that time. That was Staunton.
Point Georgia. Checking in, now serving.
Estelle Haugen will check in for her. Haugen on the serve, and
it was a great first pass that time by McCutcheon. South Carolina again able to run the middle attack. It makes it easier to side out when you have all three options, and also creates openings at the pins. It's exactly what South Carolina is going to need to do to increase that side out percentage.
Abianati there again on that previous point for South Carolina.
Georgia going to their middle again, and all different types of routes, and coming up with the same finish almost every time by Fisher. Point Georgia, scored by Fisher.
Fisher with the serve here. Seen her struggle with the serve a little bit here tonight. Give the point back to South Carolina. Elizabeth McElveen on the serve. Big block there for the Gamecocks.
First time they've come up with a block on Fisher from that back row attack.
Johnson Ruprecht.
They're well timed, 2 blocks up.
Evans. Blocked it back again, and South Carolina on a little bit of a run, now leading 6-3.
I have a feeling that if South Carolina gets a point or two more here, Tom Black is going to make a quick call of a timeout to get his team back together. He does not want to let a third set slip away when they've been in command of each set. And it was a little bit close there at the end of the first set, but Georgia never gave up its lead, and second set,
all Georgia.
Almost a runaway.
Over on 2, Georgia will take the point. That'll break a 4-0 run for the Gamecocks. Georgia now finds itself down 3.
Yeah, South Carolina caught a little bit sleeping there, what we sometimes like to call campfire defense. That was one they needed to pick up and get a swing in transition that gave that ball back to Georgia. Too easy on the over on 2.
Clara Brower. Jump serve here for Georgia. Sets that right side. Ruprecht there on the attack that time, and Georgia will get it back.
A little bit of an awkward swing that time by Gooch. That ball was set really tight to the net by Casey Evans. Gooch kind of just open-handed it over into the open space on the court.
Gamecocks give chase. That'll be a Georgia ace on the serve.
You know, the thing here is the Gamecocks have worked hard and were executing well to get that 4-point lead here early, and now they've given points easily back to the Dogs.
You saw the ace split there. Georgia with 8 aces to South Carolina's 3 here tonight. Georgia has done a good job from the service line. Over on 2. That was Claire Wilson. Carolina will pop it back over. Bailey Cox will go get it. One of the better rallies we've seen here tonight. Free ball opportunity for the Gamecocks. And that one getting past the Georgia block.
That time Elena Johnson really finishing well. But not after a really long rally and great pursuit and defense by both sides of the ball.
Broke a 3-0 run for Georgia. Here's Evans. That one gets blocked back.
South Carolina has really done a nice job of setting up a solid block against Evans, and she hasn't been able to find much daylight for the entire match.
Yeah, just the 2 kills, and she's hitting negative individually on the contest. Brower popped that thing back over. Off the Georgia block. And South Carolina into double figures.
Yeah, South Carolina definitely playing better. You can see they're relaxing just a little bit more, and I don't think Tom Black really likes that, so calling the first time out of the match.
He'll take a timeout here. South Carolina on a 3-0 run, leading by 4 here in set 3. Georgia with a timeout here. South Carolina, a 3-0 run, as we mentioned there before the break. And Coach Mendoza got to be pretty happy with the way his squad's playing here. You saw it starting to kind of come together there late in set 2 and have gotten off to a good start here in set 3.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it really takes a lot of intrinsic motivation when you're down 2-0 on the road late in October. You know, really, there's no chance to make it to the postseason. So you're just winning for pride in your program. So I'm sure he's happy to see his team rebound here in set 3, putting up a bit of a fight. And Georgia better take note. I mean, they had South Carolina on the ropes, and they're going to have to execute to get out of this with a 3-0 sweep, down by 3.
10-7 as Georgia will get the serve back. It'll be Evans. Not the best first touch there. Georgia will get a crack at it. Staunton.
Staunton really doing a great job this evening of just spraying that ball around the court. I mean, we've seen her go line. We've seen her go in that time, and the wrist away, the sharp cross. Doing a great job of hitting around the block. And if there's a seam, making them pay.
There's Cox, Staunton. South Carolina having to chase that one all the way over. Bissler. South Carolina trying to keep that thing alive. There's Evans. Put that one right to Wilson. And this will be tooled off the block as McCutcheon went on the attack.
At that time, Blakely was on the case, but she had her right hand not turned back into the middle of the court, and that ball was blocked out of bounds, wide.
Maybe a little misfire there, but Georgia and CC Gooch made up for it.
And Casey Evans running into that huddle trying to manufacture some energy. She well knows they'd be best off to pull the execution together from this point forward in set 3. Get out of here and look to Sunday. There's a lot of set 3 left to be played.
South Carolina playing the best that it has all night.
Yep, out attacking Georgia in this third set from a hitting efficiency standpoint and keeping better pace with the number of kills. They have 6 to Georgia's 7, but out hitting Georgia 294 to 150. Georgia still has more hitting errors tonight than normal. 21 attacking errors on the night, which is way more than normal.
McCutcheon on the attack previously there, and this one blocked back there by the Gamecocks as Fletcher and Anati.
Sophie Fisher looking to her team as they head into the huddle. We're good, we're good. And yet this is Tom Black's second time out in set 3, similar to how Coach Mendoza was handling set 2. He took both of his timeouts really early. This just shows the ebb and flow of the momentum. You got to build that momentum in every set. Georgia is a bit off here in set 3. If you're South Carolina, if you can take set 3, extend this thing into 4, you just never know.
One thing Georgia has done really well here tonight has been the service game for the Bulldogs, and it starts with the service game and aces for Georgia, 8.
Yeah, they definitely have taken advantage of the serving and passing game. And as we said, South Carolina's normal libero, Morgan Carter, out tonight. So Hannah Bissler filling in. Riley Whiteside's coming back in to help, kind of settle serve receive patterns, but she's been out for a few matches as well. So South Carolina has not, in sets 1 and 2, done that well with the serve receive. You can see that there, and the 8 aces for Georgia to the 3 for South Carolina. But here in set 3, their side out percentage is creeping up higher than it's been all match. Doing a little bit better job. Still doing a fine job scoring points. Georgia's giving up points a little easier than they would like. And, if South Carolina can gain some momentum in that serve pass game and make it harder for Georgia to score points and side out with a little bit more efficiency, then the Dogs have got to find an answer.
Claire Brower, another one of these Georgia players, trying to get some energy going. It feels like Georgia's kind of lulled off a little bit here in this third set.
It's been one of the Achilles heels on occasion for Georgia. I mean, they've been up and had deciding sets in many matches this season and struggled to close. So I know that's what Tom Black is talking about with his team, and certainly likes to see that first ball side out by Staunton coming out of the timeout.
Anna Julia Bleeker coming on, and that's something we talked to Tom Black about earlier in the season, just the emotional maturity of this team. You see it kind of go up and down sometimes, and lately the team continuing to come together, hasn't stopped growing throughout the year, and has done a good job bringing things together and trying to shorten those emotional waves, as he liked to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, consistency is key, and you think about, watching how consistent the Dogs were in that 3-0 sweep versus Arkansas, which, pretty much has been Arkansas's strength. I mean, they play consistently. You know they're not going to give you any points, and Georgia was able to match them point for point and even do some things that, Arkansas had trouble stopping. And then you play a team like South Carolina that is way more streaky and up and down, and it almost causes distraction. And Georgia's not able to maintain their focus.
So Georgia going to challenge the call.
Yeah, the squad immediately saying that ball was touched. And I think here you are in set 3. Tom Black has not used a challenge yet. This match doesn't have any more timeouts. So even if they don't get this call overturned, it's one more opportunity to just try to plead with the players to get something going. You're totally looking for a finger moving or a change in the trajectory of the ball, and that was a pretty quick call by the officiating crew to overturn the initial call. So let's see if we can see a finger move, and you kind of do. You see a finger on that right hand move back just a little bit as you zoom in. So great job by our camera crew to get us that shot.
Our squad always does a great job of bringing you the action. As Georgia will go long on the serve.
Yeah, I don't think that that's what Tom Black wanted his team to cook up after the overturned challenge, trying to get some momentum and then giving the ball back easily in the side out.
Casey Evans with a demonstrative kill.
Maybe that's what Georgia needs, because certainly if Evans can get cracking, get that hammer going, she will totally get her team behind her, carry them across this finish line.
Back row on the corner. Yeah. South Carolina let it go, thinking that thing was out. It died at the end.
Yeah, both Johnson and McCutcheon had just turned to look to let it fly, and then they both saw it land in and just kind of like, whoops.
So Georgia within 2 as Fisher on the serve.
That's one of the best swings I've seen from Fletcher for the night. She swung that ball really high off the hands, clear to everybody in the gym that ball was touched, but goodness, Tom Black's going to challenge again. That ball was right in front of me, and I thought it was absolutely a touch, but obviously he's seeing something different than me there.
Looks like her right pointer finger bends backwards.
Like I said live, that ball, it looked totally like that ball was totally touched. I mean, it looked like the trajectory of the ball changed, and then like you said, that right hand looks like it moved. And that ball was right in front of the up ref too, so you don't get a better look than that live than our up ref, Michelle Prater, got. So I thought that was an interesting challenge by Tom Black, but.
Well, Tom Mendoza almost seemed confused. He was like, what?
He's thinking that was not a good challenge.
Georgia has expired both of its timeouts here. Been successful on the prior challenge. She will now be down 1.
Maybe that's the whole, thought process there is let's just keep slowing it down and let's make them really reset every time. See if we can't get a big side out like that one you just saw from Sophie Fisher, and go back there and try to close this lead and not let South Carolina play fast.
Georgia has started to get a little bit of traction here in the last few points.
Again, another great swing that time from the left pin. Interesting that Whiteside's early in the match, she was coming in for Fletcher. Now she's coming in for Johnson. So they're using her on the back row for different players, set by set.
Brower. South Carolina on the attack.
Nice swing that time by McCutcheon. Bailey Cox thought maybe since that ball was going to her left, it was going to be out, but landed right in there on the line. Well done by the left pin.
Georgia's going to get aced on the serve.
Georgia find itself in some trouble, down 5 here, as South Carolina approaches 20, playing more relaxed, playing with a tempo that they like. Really doing a great job from the service line. Georgia struggling with first contact.
That one water falls back over as McCutcheon goes on the attack. Georgia can't do anything to slow down this South Carolina momentum now on a 4-0 run, and Gamecocks have hit the 20-point mark. Georgia's going to sub here, and Tori Harper onto the floor for the first time tonight.
Yeah, and that's more of a sub of desperation because Krista Blakely's been having a great match. Certainly not the reason Georgia is down here in set 3, but sometimes just having a different player come in, a different look, a different timing on the block. And there, Harper comes in, sets up a good block, makes an immediate positive contribution. Perhaps that's what Georgia needs to try to close this set 3 down by 5 here.
McKenna Lim got knocked to the floor over there celebrating that block for Georgia. Bench trying to do its part to keep the spirit alive here as Georgia will go on the attack. A good effort by Staunton going over and knocking a chair over for South Carolina with another point.
There's a great touch too by Bailey Cox. Just not enough time for Staunton to track it down. But another good touch that time on a block by Tori Harper. See if Georgia can get this side out. Again, Georgia struggling with that first contact.
Bobby Anati
there to clean it up, right? Like I like to say, the ice cream sundae of volleyball.
22-15, South Carolina starting to inch away from Georgia here in set 3. Gamecocks down 2-0 on the night, but not going to go quietly here. South Carolina can't get it over in 3.
Again, Tori Harper finding a way to bring some energy on the court, try to help her team get over the hump.
South Carolina with a block.
Yeah, another solid touch by Harper, but blocked just a little bit out. Really got to work on turning that right hip and that right arm into the center of the court, getting the momentum going back in the court instead of off the sideline.
Wilson on the serve. Georgia from the opposite side.
That time Staunton going up with no block. Fletcher got caught wanting to go up with Sophie Fisher and left the left pin completely unguarded. That's not a good idea.
Low first touch. South Carolina will just pop it back over with Fletcher. Staunton. This one blocked wide there by Fletcher again, so.
Georgia's definitely got work to do, but they got to build 1 point at a time. And they can do that by good, strong serving that gives them an opportunity to either block for a kill, get a dig in transition that they can put away in transition, or maybe just serving the ace to start. But Georgia has to find a way to score some points.
Lauren McCutcheon with 13 kills tonight, leading the way for the Gamecocks, and she's been good.
Yeah, and she's been playing 6 rotations. I mean, Georgia's really been going after her on the back line as well, but she's Evans spraying the ball around, hitting through the block, going line, going sharp angle. Really playing with a lot of poise for the Gamecocks. Got a crowd that's having a lot of fun here playing a little wobble baby.
McCutcheon's 13 kills, hitting .345 on the night. As a team, South Carolina now hitting .284. Georgia just .211 for the match.
Georgia has just been making too many attacking errors. And a lot of that has been the result of just not passing on point. I mean, this has not been a passing or serve receive showcase on either side of the ball. Both teams have really struggled to pass serve and to pass it with enough precision that they could run the offense as well as they would like.
Georgia scored an ace. Who wants a free t-shirt?
So Georgia with the serve. Anna Julia Bleeker has served well here tonight.
I think they've scored the most points on her serve. Definitely needed a few more points on her serve before the South Carolina side out, but Georgia will have one more opportunity to side out and try to score points to take this match into extra points. But honestly, at this point, I think South Carolina is going to figure a way to win this set 3 and push it into extra sets.
Big block there for the Gamecocks as Johnson and Fletcher combine on the set point. Georgia can't sweep it here tonight as South Carolina, a set 3 winner, 2-1 Georgia as we head to the 4th. South Carolina outsides tonight, 13 and 7 kills respectively from McCutcheon and Johnson. Took South Carolina a little while to get going. We saw it come together there late in the second. South Carolina really good in the third.
Yeah, and I think that South Carolina has done a good job adjusting to Georgia's game plan, which was clearly to try to shut down offense from the right side. Shut down Fletcher. She's sitting only with 6 kills tonight on 17 attempts. And so when South Carolina said, okay, you want to take away the right side? We'll show you what we can do with our left pin. I do think that Abianandi coming on and getting a few key kills there in set 3 helped. And if South Carolina can get a little bit more production from their middle in this set 4, and you know, if we go the distance for a 5th set, which we've talked about, happens often between Georgia and South Carolina, then I think that could make the difference. Georgia's certainly going to try to make some adjustments, do a little bit of a better job getting a block on the left pin of South Carolina. Will South Carolina be able to adjust and get their offense, keep their offense going? We shall see.
Georgia with the serve here as we open set 4, and Bailey Cox will go to work for Georgia. Long and no contact. Georgia will take the opening point.
South Carolina is still wanting to get Fletcher more involved and more productive in the offense.
Contact there as that one headed out. So South Carolina with the serve. Tori Harper in the contest here for Georgia. Saw her come in late there in set 3.
She will come in with some good energy there in set 3. See if Georgia can get her going here in set 4. Got a couple of timely touches on the block.
Evans on the back row here, Staunton. Oh, grab the top of the tape. Tangled up in the Carolina block.
Now, I'll be interested to see if Tom Mendoza challenges that call. It doesn't look like he's going to, because he immediately looked to his players and said, "Did you touch that first ball?" And they said yes. So he held the challenge call. But it was in the top of the tape. Could have been touched or not touched. So I wondered if that challenge card would come out. But the players usually know whether they touch the ball or not.
Anna Julia Bleeker. Georgia thought that thing was going to carry back over.
Yeah, it was a nice ball by Bleeker, but that ball was dug really tight into the net. Claire Brower went up thinking she was going to need a block, but it just fell down in front of her. Such a hard ball to read, depth perception-wise, as to where it's going to fall.
Staunton. Easy candy there for Sophie Fisher.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Definitely put that ball away easily. That ball goes anywhere near the tape. And Fisher with that 6'5" frame, his long arms, great jump, quick arm swing. She's going to put that ball away.
Misfire there from Estelle Haugen.
Yeah, you have to believe that's a bit of a focus area, a focus issue. And you know, Haugen is coming off of the bench, but she's used to that role now. She's got to come in, reset, and you don't want to put a ball into the middle of the net.
Puts that one in.
And Evans been quiet on the evening, but gotten a few more kills in the last set and a half. Takes her to 5 on the evening.
Fisher on the serve. Brower sets for Fisher. Bissler diving for it there on the back row for the Gamecocks.
Just makes it look so easy. I mean, nice wrist away from that right side, going down the line on the back row. Set, sometimes called the D, sometimes called the BIC. Great job by Sophie Fisher.
Joust at the net.
And what a smart play that time by Clara Brower to block that ball deep into the court as everyone is kind of sucked into cover. She kind of just tipped it all behind everybody.
Just kind of shove it, got it away from her quickly there, and good court vision from her. That one gets over the Georgia block. Haugen on the back row.
Nice swing though by South Carolina, taking a different trajectory, not trying to swing straight down the block, but trying to swing high and flat, deep into the court.
Ruprecht's third kill of the night. Riley Whiteside's into the game for South Carolina. Georgia with a big kill.
Yeah, that ball going so quickly out to the pin. It's like Clara Brower and Casey Evans have found their rhythm.
Now serving. Make some noise for
We figured Casey Evans would come on as the match progressed, and that's just what Georgia needs here. Set 4.
And an ace on the serve. Hannah Bissler couldn't hold on to that one.
Yeah, but I know that Coach Mendoza is not going to want Georgia to start getting that momentum and that energy back. See what he can do to stop the momentum, either with a quick side out here, or I would expect another early called timeout.
10 aces on the night now for Georgia.
Point Georgia.
I like the huddle, the close huddle by South Carolina after struggling on these last 2 service points by the Dogs. Really trying to refocus and reset and see what they can put together to come up with that side out. Much better pass.
It's a 3-0 run for Georgia. Big dig sends it back over. They'll pull that one back over, and it's McCutcheon on the attack.
And McCutcheon, great job she had to do. The 1-2 swing, she swung the wrist away deep into the deep cross court, and then the ball right back to her, and she cut it down the line, showing her range and her ability to move the ball around. Having a really nice match tonight 14 kills.
Cox to her knees there to receive the serve from Ruprecht. And South Carolina with the point. Brower coming over.
Clara Brower's having to run all over this court to track down those first contacts. I mean, Georgia, that's been one of the hardest parts of the game for them tonight, is handling that first contact on the serve.
2 straight now for South Carolina. This one to Evans. Back row Whitesides. And Georgia will answer with the kill. Get the Dogs into double figures.
Yeah, nice swing by Casey Evans. Sets up the CC Gooch kill out of the middle. Georgia hanging on to its 2-point lead.
Now Casey Evans will serve. Whiteside's on the back row. Rare misfire there from McCutcheon.
Yeah, only her 4th on the night. 33rd swing. Still hitting above 300. Really nice clip for an outside hitter. Someone who has to take so many swings. She's taken about as many swings as anybody on the night. Staunton has 34 swings on the night, but both left pins quite active on both sides of the ball. But another ace that time for Georgia and Casey Evans.
Georgia with 11 aces on the evening. The trade-off for that 8 service errors. Blocked, but wide. Well timed block there, but.
Yeah, I mean, the South Carolina attackers from the left pin, McCutcheon and Johnson, doing a great job of really attacking that right hand of the Georgia blockers, and Georgia just having a hard time turning that ball into the court. I mean, blocking the ball well, but blocking it out of bounds.
Service error here from South Carolina. We'll give Georgia the serve back, and Bailey Cox. Georgia would love to control the serve to the 15-point timeout.
Certainly they want to keep trying to build momentum here.
Finally able to get it back over. Brower's going to set Staunton.
Yeah, I would say, you know, the only thing that would be worse for Georgia than not closing it out in set 3 is having to go to a 5th set.
Cox on the serve. And that one will waterfall back over there off the block. South Carolina into double figures now.
Yeah, and a kill by Fletcher. I mean, again, she's been relatively quiet. I mean, she's led the team in kills their last 2 matches. So Georgia has done a really nice job of keeping her numbers under control. But as you said, you know, Georgia wanting to side out quickly, get to this first media break at the 15th point, and then set up their plan to get to 20 and then to get to 25.
Brower set for Tori Harper. Harper from that right side. And timeout on the floor. 15-10, the score here in set 4. Georgia leading 2-1. See Georgia taking care of business in set 1 and 2. Good response from the Gamecocks there in a nice, convincing set 3 win. And Casey Evans, 2000th career point for her, one of 5 Georgia Bulldogs to achieve that feat. Georgia getting it done from the service line here tonight.
Yeah, it's been one of the highlights for the Dogs for sure, and certainly a wonderful accomplishment for Casey Evans as we see her settling down, dancing a little bit to the Beebs.
6 kills.
Baby, baby, baby in the background. She's dancing.
She's not too tight here tonight.
Well, I think Georgia does need to relax into the execution that it's going to take to win this set, but that is an unfortunate error for South Carolina. That ball was clearly blocked, but South Carolina called in the net. So Georgia picks up the kill on the South Carolina blocking error, not what the Gamecocks need.
But a response for Georgia there. You're playing well before the timeout. Get the point out of the timeout and then give it up there on the service error. And we talked about the aces tonight for Georgia. That is the 9th service error for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, but you started that comment before you saw them serve in the net. Did you know that they were going to serve that one in the net, Caleb? I agree, though.
Georgia giveth and taketh away with the service line this season.
Yes, not good. And another unfortunate error that time by Staunton, going wrist away into the middle of the net. So Georgia's been plagued by a little inconsistency here in sets 3 and a little bit in set 4. They've got themselves a nice 4-point lead here, but really important that they do what it takes to earn the side out and not expect for South Carolina to give it back. And you know what? That's a way to do it. Bissler taking that one off the shoulder again. Sophie Fisher off 1 foot from behind the setter. That was a rocket.
Tom Mendoza seeking clarification on something there from the official.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was asking about there other than maybe he thought there was a mishandled set, perhaps. Obviously, that's a judgment call from the ref, but sometimes, you know, the coaches will put a word in or two.
Give them something to think about.
Unsuccessfully, generally, but a good answer there from South Carolina. Nice swing from the right side by Fletcher. And South Carolina, for the first time tonight, going to the 6-2. Bringing in Kimmy Johnson and Tyram Smith. Trying to get a bigger block up there on the outside.
Fletcher and Wilson both come off the floor here.
Some fresh legs.
Thompson on the serve. Georgia welcomes him to the contest.
Again, Sophie Fisher, so very effective off of 1 foot from the right side. Fisher has done some great things from the service line this evening, but has also missed a few, so hopefully she will focus and try to put some good balls in play back there to get the Dogs a few more points. And Clara Brower has the Gamecocks watching again there. Tom Mendoza knows that that can't happen for the Gamecocks to mount a comeback here in set 4.
South Carolina will call timeout. Georgia leading 19-13. We take a look at around the SEC. We talked about the conference standings in Kentucky, 13 straight now. The 5th longest under Craig Skinner, and Arkansas 1 game behind Kentucky in the SEC standings. And Arkansas taking that loss to Georgia here in Athens a couple of weeks ago probably did some damage to those hopes of winning the conference championship and chasing down the Wildcats. And meanwhile, Tennessee 14 sweeps in what is a 21-win season thus far for the Lady Volunteers. It's been an impressive campaign for Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, those 3 teams, Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, have clearly been having a great season, but followed closely are Florida and Auburn. So those 5 teams, I would say, are clearly the top, like tracking to be the top 5 in the SEC. The question is, who's gonna fill that 6th spot, and will the NCAA selection committee take 6 teams again from the SEC? And you know, that's what Georgia's hoping for.
then there's that kind of wad of teams there in the middle that Georgia's trying to kind of find its way to the top of the heap of. Georgia, LSU's in that mix, Texas A&M is in that mix, Missouri's in that mix. There's still a lot of jockeying to take place here. And when we saw the conference standings earlier, if Georgia is 6-8 currently in the conference play, they go 4-0 to end the season. You're now a double-digit winner in conference play. You jump really quickly to the top of that stack.
Yeah, and taking Missouri as your final match, too, you kind of clearly set yourself above Missouri, which is right in the middle of the pack as well. So, you know, Georgia could find itself in that 6th position if they can take care of business one match at a time between now and then, with a grand finale potentially being next Saturday. Their best chance of getting that nod from the NCAA is to go 4-0.
Yeah. Otherwise, Georgia's squarely on the bubble and still may be even going 4-0, but trying to take care of business here at home are these Bulldogs now. 20th point here.
Look how high above the net she is from that attack from behind the 3-meter line. Only one block up, clearly swinging around the block. Just too hot to handle.
That one off the back row.
Nice swing that time from Smith from the right side.
Big dig, and Evans will go to work.
Georgia feeling it now. 4 points from this potential 3-1 victory at home, the first of 4 that they need. But as we talked about even in set 3, you gotta think, keep your foot on the accelerator. Execute, do what it takes to score the point. Georgia gets a favorable roll there for the Georgia ace, but they'll take it.
Sometimes it's your night there on bounces like that, and kind of sums it up there for Georgia. 22-15 here in set 4, and Sophie Fisher 21 kills on the night.
Yeah, you know, watching her highlights sometimes sort of feels like a bit of Groundhog Day, because they're just so good all the time. You know, time after time again, whether she's swinging from the front row or from the back row, she really does a great job of putting the ball away for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Fisher, 21 kills, 20 straight where she's been in double figures. That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, the consistency is remarkable. And again, that's why it's easy to see why she's leading the SEC and also the nation as a middle blocker in points per set, and in the top 4 in multiple categories in the SEC across all players. Really doing a great job for the Dogs.
Who wants a free t-shirt?
The most impactful player that Georgia's gotten from the portal, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
I think she's come to really like wearing the red and black.
Started her career at Kentucky, got a national championship, and has been an important piece of the puzzle here in Athens the last couple of seasons. Evans with the serve, Georgia 3 points away. As Haley Cox goes crashing into our official, the down ref taking a spill.
Goes back over there to try to help him up. She's quick off her feet though. There's nothing trying to get between her and the ball. I think maybe that should be a replay, a hindrance. Maybe she would have gotten there. That ball blocked with some authority back into Tori Harper's face. She went for it. Just didn't go around the block. Let's take another look here. Great job that time by McCutcheon, getting out pretty much one-on-one against Tori Harper. Love that Clara Brower went right back to her though.
off the back row. Evans with that outstretched arm.
Look at South Carolina scoring a couple of points in a row. Some fight left in the Gamecocks. Georgia needing a side out. I imagine Tom Black's going to take a timeout.
Georgia can't get the serve back right here, and that one will go long.
That really was a nice watch that time by Bailey Cox, because it's really hard to tell. Those balls are coming so fast whether they're going to die and fall at the inline or sail on out, but you saw Bailey Cox followed that ball to the inline, so she knew. Good job. Followed by the opposite.
Yeah.
Not a great job on that serve. But regardless, Georgia's at 23-19. They need a side out to have a chance to serve for the match.
Cox with first touch. Staunton.
That's a really impressive set there by Casey Evans from off the back of the court all the way across the court to Erica Staunton. And Staunton did a great job of timing that up and taking a swing. Georgia will have an opportunity for their first match point.
Match point with Anna Julia Bleeker on the serve. That'll get past the Georgia block.
Important swing that time by Fletcher. Georgia with several opportunities now to get the side out for the victory. A strong front row in Fisher and Staunton. Great pass.
A collision there from the Gamecocks. Evans, that one will bounce off the back row. South Carolina now back within 3.
Match point.
Thought we might have had a timeout there, but Georgia holding on to it. Still up by 3. Staunton. That one tangled up in the net. She'll go to work again. Dropped back over, and Georgia will block it wide. And South Carolina within 2, and Tom Black will now bang a timeout.
South Carolina playing some good defense to keep themselves in this fourth set. Still a bit of an uphill climb, but they're halfway there at this point. Georgia does have a strong front row right now. Players are stacked on the left side. Staunton, Fisher, and Brower. Got Evans in the back row is an option too. But the ball has to be passed close enough to the net for Sophie Fisher to get around on that slide attack route off of 1 foot. That has to be Georgia's #1 option. But South Carolina's been doing a great job of forcing the pass off the net. And at that point, it becomes much easier for the blockers because they know that the set's gonna go in front of the setter so they can kind of release. So really important for South Carolina coming out of this timeout to really think about that serve focus, put a solid serve in play, because if they put something too easy and you push that ball up there, give Fisher a crack at it, she oftentimes comes away with a kill. So gotta know there's pressure on the South Carolina server too coming out. What is a must serve, but it has to be a serve that's tough enough that the block from South Carolina can defend.
This timeout, nothing but a momentum breaker for Georgia. Meanwhile, South Carolina using every second of that timeout. Officials whistling, telling them to come on out. Georgia loose, knowing they just need 1 point here.
South Carolina's fill-in libero, Hannah Bisler, the junior out of Ohio, back to serve.
3-0 run for Georgia, or for South
Beautiful
Carolina,
pass.
excuse me. There's Fisher, back row. Georgia picks up its 16th victory of the season.
Yeah, Mallory Downing passed that time. Fisher got set up as just like she liked it. and put that ball away so Georgia could come away with a much-needed victory here in the first of 2 at home.
Georgia's got 4 contests here at the end of the season to try to make its way into the NCAA tournament. Test number 1 is passed. Georgia winner 3-1 over South Carolina. For our entire SEC Network crew, Nikki Chester, Caleb Frady, so long from Athens. Georgia back in action against Alabama Sunday 2 Eastern right here on the SEC Network.